great camp so far, great energy. The guys playing at an extremely high level. Got them playing a few different positions, so there's still some challenges going on as far as competition goes, but the energy's been great, the juice has been great. As long as we bring the energy, everybody else is going to follow, so that's been a big mantra for us.
How do you balance this time of year? Build cohesion, chemistry amongst certain guys, but also, moving around a lot of parts to try guys at different stuff.
So you limit it a little bit than you did in the spring, but you still have some mixtures going. The mixtures may be a little bit more pod-like now. You might have guys who stay on the left side, play with each other on the left side, guys on the right side, play with each other on the right side. But you still got to have that good, like you said, competition where you're creating that cohesion, because that's going to be big for us. You want to trust the guy next to you as much as possible. So trying to build that while also keeping the competition level high, so nobody's ever getting complacent.
Someone who was here when Ope first showed up, just how much of a transformation is this to see when he's down 80 pounds in a couple of years, and how much more ready is he to play this year for you compared to a 400-pound guy a couple of years ago?
I mean, it's crazy. It's really like 100 pounds, because when he got here, he was almost like 420 plus. He's lost all 100 pounds plus. He's been consistent at it. He hasn't complained about it. He's limited what he was eating. And to see him change his body, he's always been a high IQ guy. So he gets the football part. He can play almost 4 of the 5 positions. But to see him now being able to function at the way he's functioning, weight not being a hinder of him, I mean, he's going to be able to help us and benefit us extremely. I mean, and he's athletic. I mean, he was 430 and he moved well in. So imagine what he does with 100 pounds less on him. And to us, that's going to help benefit our team without a doubt. Because if any of the 4 spots were to go down, Ope can come in there and handle it.
Where are you guys at with the center competition? Obviously, Alex comments, it's a really big hole.
I mean, right now we had still good, solid competition. You got JPJ in there, you got Marcus in there, you getting Pancho in there, you got Charlie Pickard and Kanan Rossi. So we got 5 guys right now who are all doing a tremendous job. I think they're all competing at a tremendous level right now, but I think it's a good mixture between JPJ, Marcus, and Pancho, because the more experience we get at center, the better we're going to be. Because if at any point, if you can have more than one guy be able to think like how Alex Forsythe did and be able to get everybody on the same page, your team gets better at that point. So those guys continue to progress, continue to grow.
What are kind of like the final nuances you need to see? I mean, it's kind of a complicated position. You need to see from those guys for the game ready.
From a center standpoint?
Yeah.
From a center standpoint, first off, snap consistency. Just making sure the snaps are going to be exactly where the quarterback needs it, and it won't be a problem for him to take his eyes off his read because he knows where the ball's going to be. And then second, just confidence and communication. We're going to start playing in front of 50+ thousand. You can't let that hinder your communication to the guys in front of you. Being confident, knowing the playbook, knowing the personnel, knowing exactly what we need to see, so that way everybody's on the same page. Because a little bit of that timidness with communication, that's when you have MAs, that's when you have missed assignments. And we're trying to limit that as much as possible.
What did you learn from your experience being in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings? Obviously, the NFL, everyone always talks about it every season. The level of competition increases. You got to see that up close and personal. What did you learn in your time with the Vikings that you're taking into this season with this O-line group?
It's funny you asked that, because literally yesterday we were having that conversation in our meeting room, and you can start to see the difference in people at that next level. You just assume the elite players are elite just because they're elite. I mean, I know we've all probably seen quarterback. You got an in-depth look at Kirk Cousins and how he's the exact same person every single day trying to find ways to better himself. I just tell those guys like Justin Jefferson, you think he just runs elite routes? Every single day he's working his releases. It's repetitive. It never stops. So for all our guys, again, them to understand, once you get to this level, it's not high school anymore. Everybody in our room is good. You're going to separate yourself in the minute details that somebody else may be forgetting. If you're attacking it every single day, you're separating yourself every single day, not even realizing it. So more often than not, just being consistent and disciplined in whatever your process is. Once everybody's elite, you got to be elite in your process. And I think all our guys, we're trying to challenge them on that. Coach Love does a tremendous job in the weight room, trying to make sure they do that. Coach Lennon obviously does a tremendous job, and our coach is trying to do that, but making sure they're aware of it, because they're young teenagers, realistically, they're young adults. It's natural a weekend in camp, be like, good Lord. But man, be consistent so that way you can separate yourself, because everybody else in the country is saying, man, good Lord. So that's the challenge for us.
Is there anyone that's taken to heart that message, that message that you've been bringing to take it to the next level, that's really felt the words coming from you, that they feel like that they can do that this season?
I mean, and it's probably gonna sound corny, but like, literally, I feel like our whole room has done that. You can spot our guys, like I know JC's one of our hardest workers, but you can tell he doesn't play about the minute things. Every day he's getting his rehab. Pancho's a young guy. When he first got here, he maybe didn't rehab and prehab as much as he should. He's texting me, hey coach, I just got out the cold tub. We got guys like Marcus and Johnny. Like, everybody in our room has a process to them. I just want them to continue to see them continue doing so day in and day out, especially when we get in week 8, especially when we get into hopefully the playoffs and things of that nature. We're gonna take it one week at a time, but you end up having a better team later on in the year if you focus on that stuff now.
When do you start figuring out who your best 5 are and what 5 positions those guys are at? Instead of, I know cross training is so important, but when does that kind of conversation start happening?
Right now, that timing is almost perfect. We got one more scrimmage, and then you head up until almost a week before the game. You start pretty much rallying it down 10 days before the game. because then you'll start getting a little more opponent-based. Right now, it's still competition. We competing against our guys. I still maybe want to see a young guy go up against Popo or Brandon Dorless just to see how that matchup is going to look. And then once you get about 10 days away, you start prepping and start utilizing the looks we're going to see, make sure the guy's comfortable when they see it.
Are you a fan of pick the 5 best and then find out where they fit, or do you pick by position?
Yeah, it kind of happens like cohesively. Like you want to have your best 5, and you want to make sure it's at the position they're comfortable at that lets them play at their best. So you end up with your best 5, but your best 5 is probably going to end up where they're their best at in position-wise. Yes,
it's going to make those determinations at the guard spots when you have 4 experienced guys. I realize some are a little bit limited right now, but when you have 4 experienced guys who've all been starters, what's going to make the determination between a Nishad and Marcus on the left side, or Junior and Steven on the right side?
Consistency. That's all it is right now. Consistency and violence. I'm going to be honest with you. The more violent you're going to be, if it's going to be close between people, who's displacing more? Who's causing more disruption in the A-gaps? Who's clarifying the pocket a little bit better for both? To me, that's when the competition starts to clarify itself, especially with a ton of guys who played a ton of football. Now, if we get in a situation, I told those guys, there hasn't been a Joe Moore Award winner where only 5 linemen have played. At some point in the season, you're going to call on somebody's number. You may have a rotation of 6 or 7 guys. And if we have to do that, that means we have quality players that can do so. I have no problem doing so.
There was so much talk about the line last year and all the changes this year. Do you feel like your group feels that pressure of, trying to sort of compete with the team last year?
I mean, I wouldn't call it pressure, but there's a standard. We say to ourselves, other people are going to put pressure on us, but we have a standard ourselves that we always want to keep at. So the pressure of it being a new year, all that, every single year in college is probably going to be a new piece to your line of some sort. So whoever's the next best, you do that in preparation. But as long as our standard's the same, we looking at it like realistically. We have a standard to upkeep. And then once we get there, let's raise that bad baby. So there's no pressure. The pressure's really on me, but I let me get all the pressure. Y'all go out there, have fun, and play ball, and let's just have fun doing so.
Have Josh and Johnny kind of separated at tackle, or kind of what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say separated, but they just been really consistent. And that's the thing you want in your offensive line position. I think there are 2 guys that, if you can see from the spring to now, they've become extremely confident. In the play tackle, you're going to be one-on-one a lot. You got to be confident. The more confident they get, they have the athletic ability and the strength to be able to do whatever they want to do. So to see their confidence continue to rise, the consistency also arises with it. So we want to continue to strive to keep that going.
Since media day, a lot of people have talked about just how good of an athlete Pancho is, or how impressive he is for such a young guy. What have you just seen from him that makes his teammates, his peers so impressed?
I mean, Pancho is a freshman. He's been here 6 months ago, but the man is like, he got some of the heaviest hands I've ever seen in my life, like literally. Obviously recruiting Ope the first time I was here, having that relationship with him, Pancho was a D tackle at first. He wanted nothing to do with O-line because Ope played O-line. And when I was at Hawaii, I was trying to recruit him at that point. I knew no chance in the world he was going to come there, but to be able to have him now and see the growth, to see how much commitment he's took into his body and changing his body, it's funny. Both him and his brother got to college and committed to changing their body. They've done a tremendous job doing it because Pancho is athletic, powerful, quick feet, good balance. He's got everything you want for a powerful lineman, and to do so as a freshman and have the impact he's having, that's rare.
Is there a natural position that he fits in right now, or are you still figuring that out?
Any interior spot, because realistically, people see him as a smaller stature guy, quote unquote, and think he's played center. He's actually new to center, but he's out there confidently making calls, confidently getting guys on the same page. So just getting some kinks out, just being a freshman center, I mean, he's going to continue to rise for us. He's going to continue to rise for us, and all our guys love him because he's humble. He's going to ask questions to anybody and everybody. Hey, how do you get better at this? How do I do this? How do I do that? And as long as he continues to do that, he's going to be the exact player we all think he's probably has the capability of being.
How does George fit in a tackle? George, have you seen him at left and right both?
Yeah, so George is playing predominantly right tackle, but he's got to play both sides, right and left. But George is one of those guys, man, like long, explosive, athletic, great energy, always in a good mood. We tell George, you need to get a little bit more mad. But when he's in the game, literally, when he starts playing, you can see that physicality and that hurry to him, and he has it. And that's a long dude who's brand new to offensive line, really played offensive line for maybe a year and a half. And once again, another human, if you can see what he looked like in spring to what he looks like now, and the future is bright for George Silver. But he has to be consistent. As long as he's consistent in this process, and he continues to turn that switch on when he's on that field, the future is bright for George Silver.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate y'all.